Hello and welcome back to the top tiers. Today I'm going to be looking at and ranking all the hard mode bosses from Terraria, and these rankings are going to be based on their difficulty. So let's get started. And I have the Destroyer as the easiest because the Destroyer is just extremely easy. It was usually the first mechanical boss that players take on, and the hardest part about it is the little probes that it spawns in because all you have to do is build a little room, I forget the exact number of blocks up, but you build a little room, and then bam, you're good to go. You just shoot down on it with the Onyx Blaster or any ranged melee weapon or any mage weapon, and you're just good to go. The probes, however, they spawn out of its little segments, and they can swarm you and shoot lasers at you. They also go through blocks, so your house won't be much protection of it. So you should always have some sword or something ready to fight them off. I recommend the Crimson Fishing Sword, the sword you get through fishing in the Crimson. But if your world is in a Crimson world, there's other options like the Beam Sword. And next I have Golem, and Golem is just renowned as basically a mini boss. He's insanely easy for how late in the game he is, being one of the final bosses of the game. In his first phase, he has no ranged attack besides his fists, and in second phase, the lasers are slow and easy to dodge. So there's no real. Sometimes you don't even need buff potions for Golem. In expert mode, you may need buff potions, and all you have to do to keep yourself from dying to the enemies surrounding him, the lizards, is just block off the entry to the temple, and the lizards will not be able to get in. Next up is Lunatic Cultist. And Lunatic Cultist is another pretty easy boss, and for how late he is in the game, the second to final boss. All of his attacks are very easy to dodge, and the hardest thing about him is hitting the real one when he's forming the little circle with his clones. If you hit the fake one, it spawns in a dragon enemy that will attack you, and if you hit the real one, it will prevent that dragon enemy from spawning. Next up is Skeletron Prime, and Skeletron Prime is a medium difficulty mechanical boss. He has 4 arms shown in the picture. He has the ray gun arm, a chainsaw arm, a claw arm, and a bomb shooting arm. And each arm will do its different attack, and once you destroy the arms, it'll be much easier to kill him because the arms themselves are relatively low health. All you need is a yo-yo or the Daedalus Stormbow with holy arrows. He does still the same spinning head attack, except this time his head sprouts spikes. And next up I have Plantera. Plantera has 2 forms, as shown. The first form, she looks like a flower. In the second form, she looks like she has a huge gaping mouth. And this Plantera is a very difficult boss because of how fast-paced the fight is. And since it takes place in the underground jungle, you have to clear out a large enough arena to be able to do a decent amount of damage. She has a bunch of little claws that will sprout in her second phase, and although they're relatively easy to take down, another big threat is the jungle enemies themselves that can overwhelm you if you haven't prepared for them. So I recommend closing off any entries to your arena so that they can't get in. Next up, I have the twins, and the twins are 2 mechanical eyeballs. There's Retinator, which is the red eye, and Spasmatism, which is the green eye. And Spasmatism is arguably the harder one, shooting cursed flames, even if it is a Crimson world. And in his second phase, he'll do continuous dash attacks similar to the Eye of Cthulhu, and he'll have a sprout continuous flamethrower that he'll use while charging at you. He cannot use his flamethrower during his dashes, though. And Retinator shoots lasers in his first phase, just a relatively slow, occasional projectile blast. He'll try to hover around on top of you, so that can make it annoying if you're going to try to jump over Spasmatism to get around. My general tip for this fight is to make a long platform in the sky and have some form of wings, and at least the Onyx Blaster and the yo-yo to attack them with. Nader in his second form, though, will become much faster with his lasers. However, he is extremely inaccurate, so it's easy to just dodge him. I recommend killing Spasmatism first and then moving on to Retinator. And next we have the Moon Lord, and he's our final boss. He's the final boss of the game, so of course he's the hardest. And he has a bunch of different attacks he can kill you with. He's able to create little eyes that will shoot around in a little formation, trying to ram into you to deal damage. He has a very high-powered eye ray that is extremely strong. It may be able to one-shot you if you have any less than like 250 health. Once his hands, he had to take out all three of his eyes, the ones on his hands and the one on his head. I recommend going for the head one first because that's the one that has the eye ray. Once you kill them, his heart will open up, so you can attack that, and that's the final thing you have to kill in order to defeat him. However, the eyes that are in his hands and head will float about and do continuous attacks, with all three eyes gaining ability to a weaker but still effective eye blast ability. Upon his death, he will explode and his bones will crumble to the ground to disappear. And he is a very fun boss, but a very hard boss as well. And that's the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you here on the top tiers.